Exercise A09 is going to conclude this series from module 3. We're going to do a different type of program, okay? We're going to write a program which combines sentinel-based iteration, if you will, with counter-based iteration, and each of those loops is going to be nested into one another. So let's have a look at what is the outcome of this program. We want a program which is going to prompt the user for a positive integer x between 1 and 10, and display on the screen a line of x stars. So if you enter 3 for a value of x, I want to see 3 stars on a line. Okay, you will keep doing so until the user enters the value 0. Aha, this is sentinel-based iteration. Okay, I don't know how many times I'm going to do it. I'm just waiting for the value 0, the sentinel value 0 to be entered, and then I know I can stop, meaning that the program has to stop. If any other value is entered, it will display an error message. So between 1 and 10, the value is accepted. 0 means we stop, and anything besides 0 or 1 and 10 mean that, well, the user should actually enter a value between 1 and 10 or 0. So we need an error message there. I'm going to let you do the error message. Okay, I'm going to focus on giving you a solution that does the core program and leaves the error message as a little exercise on the side. In order to display a line consisting of as many stars as the user specified, you will need an inner counter-based iteration. Okay, so that's an interesting hint that tells us exactly how we are going to tackle that problem. So a sentinel-based loop as inner loop, and a counter-based loop as a sentinel-based loop as outer loop, and a counter-based loop as inner loop. Okay, that was confusing. So let us start by making this structure. Okay. So the first structure we're going to put inside of this program is actually a loop. Okay, we're going to keep asking the user for a number until 0 is entered. Pretty much, this is going to be our clue that we need to exit the loop. So my condition, well, let's do one thing at a time. Okay, input statement at the beginning of my loop. Input statement is going to be pretty much, please enter an integer. Okay, value for x equal, this is a text I display on the screen, and I read the value that is typed in a variable, like for example, x would do. Done. So I read a value for x, and I keep iterating until what? When x is equal to 0, that means I'm done. I exit my loop. So this is the correct execution path here. What do I do if x is not equal to 0? Then I'm going to do some work. The work I need to do is display x stars characters on the screen. This is going to take a loop. This is going to take a counter-controlled loop. So I'm inserting here a loop. It's going to be a counter-control loop, so I'm going to have at the beginning of this inner loop initialization of a counter variable. Okay, I'm going to call my counter variable c. C is going to be initialized to 0. Done. So c is equal to 0. I'm going to loop, and what do? I'm going to test. I'm going to test what? I'm going to test if I displayed already too many star symbols on the screen. Okay, so let's say that my user gave me a number which is 1. Okay, so the value of x is 1. If c is equal to the value of x, then I need to stop. That's my logic. Okay, so you gave me a value of 1. If c is 1, then I need to stop. If not, then I need to iterate. When I iterate, I'm going to display on the screen one more star symbol. So I'm going to output text. The text will be just a single star, and I'm not going to end the current line. Okay, I want to make several stars follow each other on the line, as many stars as the number that was entered. So this is going to help me in that job. Then I'm going to have the increment part of my loop. Okay, c, the counter, is going to be equal to set to c plus 1. After that, I go back to my loop and I ask myself again, did I reach already the number of stars to display that was requested of me? If c equal x, then get out. If not, do it once more and keep going like that. Little problem with this but statement, I never go to the next line. So all of my stars are going to follow each other, you know, without never going to the next line. So once I'm done with the inner loop here, when I get out of the inner loop, I'm going to say I want to output some text. Not going to type anything, but end the current line. That's just going to allow me to separate all the stars that were displayed for this iteration. When I go back to the outer loop, I'm going to ask another value of x and display another set of stars in the next line. Okay, let's give a shot to this program. I reduce the speed of execution and I run it. Get a value for x. Well, okay, let's say I want x equal to 9. Okay, I get inside of my inner loop and I start displaying things on the screen. Let me switch to the console. 3 stars, the program is executing in the background. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm done. I displayed 9 stars on the screen. I'm prompted now for the next input. I want 3 stars. We go to the next line, okay, at the end of the inner loop. I display my 3 stars. I go to the next line, and I'm done. Next number, well, this time I'm going to ask for 0 stars. My program finishes. So that's pretty much what was requested of us in the exercise, okay? The only thing I'm going to leave out here, and for you to complete, is every time you read a value for x here, I would like for you to detect if there is an error. So how do you do this? How do you detect that there was an error? Well, conditional statement, okay? If the value of x is actually greater than 10, strict, or if it is lesser than 0, strict, there is a problem. What do you do if there is a problem? Well, you have two tactics, if you will, okay? One first tactic is to just ignore the input, okay? So you are going to say, if the value is unacceptable, I'd simply branch to the end of the loop. Okay, so I don't do anything. If the value is acceptable, then I execute the rest of the code of my loop, my inner loop. Okay, another way to handle errors, especially that kind of errors, is to say that, well, I want to keep asking the user a value of x until the user gives me a valid input. Okay, so that would mean replacing this simple input statement by a loop which would keep using this input statement, keep asking a value of x until the value of x is greater or equal to 0 and lesser or equal to 10. At this moment I can exit my loop, I have a valid entry, otherwise I keep asking. So I'm going to leave that to you as an exercise. Introduce here a loop, a for loop, that is going to keep executing this one statement, get x, until the value of x is between 0 and 10 inclusive. And then once it is the case, move on to the next statement, which will be the conditional of our first loop. And we are done pretty much, once you do that, you are done pretty much with exercise A09.